Hey everybody, I'm Steven21967 and we are in the Infected, and I thought in this video I would discuss my ideas for what items I want to bring with me to the caves, or should I say to the very large cave once we identify, or at least I identify, where on my map my large cave is. It's probably going to be the same for the rest of you, but I won't assume it. Now, a lot of this has to do with whether or not the lead ore that is in the caves, and my understanding that is the only way right now, currently, to get lead ore, whether or not that lead ore respawns or if it's just a one-time deal. Personally, I don't think it makes a lot of sense for it to be a one-time spawn, because we're going to be very limited in terms of what we can and can't do with lead ore building and crafting, as well as steel building and crafting. For starters, I think I will bring a circular saw bench with me, because we're going to need this to build planks out of logs, make planks out of logs. Depending on where the large cave is, if it's nearby one of my outposts, then in all likelihood I may want to expand on the outpost, because most of my outposts right now are very small buildings, and I may want to build a second floor or maybe make them larger, a little bit more homey. Plus, planks are needed in a lot of recipes, as well as doing repairs. If we take damage from Vambi attacks or from animal attacks, we'll definitely need the saw bench. So either most likely I would build a second one. I would not take this one, or I would grab the materials to build one. Currently it's an iron, or 8 iron ingots, 2 cobalt, 4 mechanical parts, and 4 electrical parts. I'm looking at the updates for 8.0, and I don't see anything here that suggests that the circular saw bench will have its materials changed. So you should be able to trust that if you have all these items ready to go, that you could certainly just have enough ingots, enough iron, cobalt, mechanical parts, and electrical parts, put them in a bag, carry them out there, and build the circular saw out there, and you should be okay. But I think the circular saw bench will be an absolute must-have in order to set up my base of operations at the large cave. I think the next thing that I'll bring in with me, pretty obviously, is a coal heater. I have no idea what time of year it will be once 8.0 drops. It might be in the middle of winter. I will need to either be able to bring a coal heater with me or bring the parts with me. Currently, take a look at what we need. Coal heater needs 10 iron ingots, so that's going to take up a lot of space, and we need 10 screws in order to do this. It's always possible that what you could do to reduce the amount of items that or the amount of space that you use up, to be prepared to do something like build a stone forge. You could go for something like a brick forge, but that's a lot of work. But you could easily build a bunch of stone forges, and if you take iron ore, it's smaller than the iron ingot. For example, I will show you here. This is what a typical ore is like, and this is what it's like when it's been forged into an ingot. So it might make sense, if you make the plan ahead, to just take everything that you need, make it as an ore, and then build a bunch of stone forges so that you can forge these into the actual ingots that you're going to need. But yes, we will need a coal heater, because we may need to work during the winter months when there's going to be blizzards. Also, my understanding is you're not going to be able to use a coal heater within the caves to stay warm. You may be able to build a fire as a way to help stay warm, but when blizzards come through, I'm assuming that the cave will be freezing cold during blizzards, and you'll have to either get back to your base and turn on where your coal heater is, turn it on to stay warm so you don't take damage, or you're going to need a lot of cucumbers to get health recovery The next thing I would consider taking along with me to the large cave site is possibly the anvil. The anvil is what we need in order to make screws and nails, which are needed to make a lot of the construction or the crafting tables that we're going to need to work with. The only problem with the anvil is, even though we can make a mineral extractor to get iron out of any non-mineral or non-ore site, getting copper ore is going to be a big problem unless the large cave is right over by a copper extraction site. So it might be better to bring over some screws or nails. Actually, it's probably better to bring over screws and nails as opposed to trying to bring over copper ore or iron ore that you could, forge into bars, because the amount right now, one of these iron ingots will give us 10 nails, and one of these copper ingots will give us 10 screws. But if you look at the weight and how much space this takes up, this is not very effective. I mean, iron ore, even then, we're trying to reduce the amount of stuff that we need to bring so we don't have to take too many trips back and forth. But currently, if we take a look at this, it says 8 plank and 10 iron ingot. However, when 8.0 goes live, from what the notes say here, the anvil recipe is changing from 10 iron ingots to 5. So my recommendation to you is to wait until 8.0 drops if you're going to create an anvil, or bring the materials with you to create an anvil at the location. Probably the best. And of course, the alternate is to just make a bunch of screws right here, right now, a bunch of nails right here, right now, because these will take up less space. This is, once I get 50 of these, that equals 5 of these. So this is less in terms of taking up room. And the weight is also very comparable. I mean, one of these is 2, and 50 of these, which equals 5 of those copper, is only 2.5. So it may be a better idea to grab maybe 250 screws and 250 nails, bring them with you, and that might be enough for the very beginning to give you all the screws and nails you might need for building, crafting stations, and anything else that requires screws or nails in order to build. The next thing I plan to have at the large cave location, it's not something I'm going to bring, but something I definitely want to have, you'll probably want to have it, is a fire pot. And why a fire pot? Because not only can we set these up at our base to add light, but we might be able to, I'm assuming that we're going to be able to set these up in the cave, which will be great benefit for us in terms of getting light. Now, obviously, you probably have the yellow helmet, or you need to at least craft it. We can talk about that in just a moment. So right now, it takes 5 iron fragments and 10 plant fiber in order just to make a fire pot, and then it runs all the time. So you always have power. So it might be, depending on the size of the cave, I may bring 10 stacks of 5 iron fragments with me. Plant fiber is super easy to get. All you need to do is cut down a bunch of trees and you get plant fiber. So I won't bring plant fiber with me, but I will plan to cut down trees nearby to get the plant fiber, because we want to reduce the amount of weight, the amount of stuff we have to carry with us back and forth. So we're definitely going to need to bring some iron fragments to create this. This is the easiest thing in the game to create. This takes too much resource, and this requires power. And then the next thing I plan to have, I won't bring, but I'll have, are plant beds, as well as seeds for various plants. I think right now, in terms of what we need for a plant bed, is we need 8 planks, but we need 8 nails. So we definitely need to bring nails or the anvil. And as for plant food, Itempedia, right now, among everything that we get from these plants, this is mostly carbohydrates. This is carbs and vitamins. This one, potatoes, actually gives us carbs, fat, and vitamins. So this is This is pretty big in terms of giving us 3 out of the 4 foods that we need. Protein we'll need to get from fish and or meat that we'll need to catch in the game. And yeah, I'll probably bring a handful of seeds, probably all the seeds that I have. I'll probably bring a stack of, I don't know, maybe I'll just grab 1 stack of 50 of each. I have my seeds over here. That's not a lot of weight. I could certainly cut this in half, or even just take something like this, cut it down to 10, and just grab 10 of everything, or 5 of everything. We don't need a lot of seeds to take with us, because we will occasionally find plants around our area where we set up where we can definitely get more seeds. You see, I've added a lot of seeds here, and I will probably still add more seeds. Something I don't plan on bringing or constructing when I go over to the new site is power, and that's because right now power that we have at our base, any amount of power we have, is available everywhere in the game. I could be on the opposite side of the map and I would be able to set up a refrigerator and get power from this other side of the map if I want. Now I know that the developer is planning to make it so that the power source that we have at our base is only available within a certain range, so it won't be available throughout the entire map. So one day, if you have items at your cave location and you rely on power to run things there, you may find that you're going to have to set up power there just for your base there in order to work wherever you need power. Personally, I don't plan on bringing anything off the top of my head that I can think of that requires power, with the exception of bringing probably a stack of a stack of oil with me for any mineral extractor that I decide to create at the base. I probably will put down a mineral extractor just to get iron, because iron is something we need a lot of. I might need that for other items that I need at the base. I don't know, haven't made a decision yet that if I am going to bring the materials to create a mineral extractor or not, but I don't plan on having anything that needs power at the new cave base location that I'm going to build. So I think we'll also obviously need a bed set up at the cave location. This is very simple. This doesn't require a lot of materials in order to make. Just 6 planks. In all likelihood, I will bring over a clothing rack. You see it needs 10 screws, needs 2 plastic and 5 iron ingot. And it's just because if I'm over there for a while when the temperature changes a lot, I might need a place to place my clothes, because obviously you don't want to throw them on the ground. And we could create storage containers to put them in, and maybe a storage container is a better idea, but I might want to have the materials to create the clothing rack. And I think we already took a look at what the materials are. Yep, screws, couple plastic, iron ingots. And something I might bring, but I haven't quite decided yet, is a mineral extractor. Mineral extractors don't need power, but they do need fuel. I believe it's under others. And right now it needs 18 iron ingots, so it's very expensive. That's a lot of material I have to carry back and forth. Planks, we can make planks there if we need to. Nails and screws, so it does need quite a bit of nail screws. And I would probably have this for one, obviously, for getting iron. Iron is something that we can only get by extracting or by forging rocks. It's also possible if there's a copper extraction site nearby that we can have a mineral extractor to get copper, because we need copper in order to forge it into an ingot to make screws. So I might bring this with me. Something else I'm sure we're all going to have and need is going to be the log cart. Pretty simple. Put this together. There you go. Wood log, plank, and then nails. So again, you need the ability to make planks and the ability to make nails, or to bring nails with us while we're over at the new site. And of course, something else we're going to want to have is we'll want to have a campfire. Campfire is pretty inexpensive. It's just 10 small stones and 8 firewood. Pretty easy to get. One of the other things that we will need is we're going to need a shelter, because we need to place something over the fire to keep it from getting wet. And a shelter will be absolute must-have, unless you plan on building a greenhouse and placing all your foodstuffs inside. And in case, because we will have raccoons that can steal food off your fire, you probably want to create a fence line around your fire. Anything that you're going to leave food out on. So wood, log, and rope. Rope is pretty easy. It just requires plant fiber. And you might say, well, if I put it around, I'm probably going to need to create the gate in order to open and close it. Well, not necessarily. You can always change the height so that it's low enough. You know, for example, here, this is low enough that I can run and jump up on top of this and get over it. But if you want to build a gate, you can build a gate, but a gate's going to be a little bit more effort. Right here, wood, log, and copper ingot. Not too terrible. Again, it's up to you. You can either try to build a greenhouse to keep your foodstuff safe from raccoons that come around. Actually, any animal in the game should eat your food. Every single animal you see in the game should eat your food if you leave it out. All of them should. But you can certainly do the fencing with a wood gate. But yeah, this won't be enough if you're able, unless you're able to do something. Something else we could do. Something else we could do is, I'm going to guess, unless the developer decides to do with raccoons what he did with Vambies, is you might be able to just do this. Get a bunch of sticks, put them around your fire close enough so that you can just reach over, access your fire. You don't have to jump up or down. Just create a simple log stand. Let's see. Let's get rid of this item here. Get that out of there. And then let's do this. We're just going to put, let's see, where was it? It was storage, right? Yeah. It's already very big. Unless for some crazy reason raccoons can get under this, we should still be able to get access. Well, let's see. No, yeah, I mean, I have to kind of get close. But it's not that hard to jump up on top of a log stand. It really truly isn't that difficult. That's something we're going to have to test. We'll have to put some food on a fire and then perhaps put a log stand fence around it, and then see if the raccoons can go underneath the log stand to get access to the food that is sitting on the campfire. Yeah, that was something I didn't quite think about. I thought that maybe just a fence would work in order to protect our food. You know, set up a garden that way, put all of our drying racks and our campfire in there. But yeah, I mean, maybe a log stand would have done as well. And then one other thing that I may or may not bring along the materials to do is the water basin. And the reason for maybe not bringing along the water basin is just because most of these sites, from what I see on the map, look like they are very close to a water source. It won't be as easy as this. We're not going to have, or at least I don't think we'll have it so close that we can just walk a couple of feet and get ourselves water. Although when winter comes, we can get snow and then melt that into water. It's still going to be a little bit of a walk to get to water source. And then something else I've thought about that I may or may not bring with me would be the workbench and advanced workbench. The reason why we need advanced workbench is because the advanced workbench is what we need in order to be able to craft our iron axe and our iron pickaxe. Although at the same time, if we want to, we could just craft stone tools and have to and that way we could avoid the expense of creating an advanced workbench, because it does require quite a bit of materials in order to create. Let's see, we got the advanced workbench here: plank, iron ingot, copper ingot, nails. And then regular workbench is just plank and nails. And, you know, for everything I can think about bringing a workbench, it's all the things I can't think about that I would need a workbench for. A sawbench is not nearly as good as a circular saw. Circular saw is worth the hassle, in my opinion. You're going to get twice as much wood out of the circular sawbench. Plus, you spend less time, babysitting it. Because at the sawbench, it only takes one log at a time. And that's just so annoying to have to keep running back and forth. This one, you can fill it up 6 logs at a time, I think it is. Something like 6, maybe 8, but I think it's 6. So yeah, maybe we bring along a workbench, or bring the materials and make a workbench. And if you want to have access to the iron axe and iron pickaxe, which do their job so much faster, and not only that, but they last a lot longer, you're going to want to bring along the materials to create an advanced workbench, which right now doesn't look too bad. And when I look at the notes, I don't see anything here saying that the advanced workbench recipe or the regular workbench recipe is going to change. So maybe it is worthwhile to bring 2 iron ingots, 2 copper ingots, 10 nails, and then you can get planks from your circular saw. So maybe the advanced workbench would be the one thing you'd absolutely positively have to have. Maybe even more than the regular workbench. But you can't do what you do on the workbench on the advanced workbench, or vice versa, obviously. And I can't think of anything that I would need the chemistry table for. And some of these things might be things that I want to craft later. Maybe later when I want to start building more. Maybe once we figure out what's going on with these caves and whether or not we want to spend a lot of time there. I mean, some of the things that I might need to craft with, I've already crafted a lot of the things that the lead is going to be used for and the steel is going to be used for. It's mostly just to get out there, get set up, get ready, keep crossing my fingers, hoping the developer gives us an all-terrain vehicle. Hoping. Not holding my breath, but I'm hoping, wishing on stars. All right? Every time I walk past a water fountain, I throw a penny, maybe 2 in there, Yeah, maybe. And then obvious, I'll bring tools of the trade with me. So currently, I do have some of the iron tools. I have an iron axe and an iron pickaxe. But the problem with these, even though these are very long lasting, once they do break down, we're going to need the anvil to create the iron head of most of these tools. And then we need the advanced workbench to take a stick and then the head of the tool and craft them together to actually make these axes. But we could certainly skip all that problem and just deal with making a stone pickaxe. We also got a stone pickaxe, we got a stone axe, but these are pretty inferior. But in a pinch, they will do. And as well as bringing those along, I will probably bring along a stone spear. Although we are going to get a katana, I think the katana needed iron. I don't think it needs lead or steel, but I could be wrong. I could be remembering that incorrectly. But I might definitely make a katana and see how good that is in comparison to this spear. I would assume that it's going to last longer. I mean, the spear doesn't last a long time. And here's something I want to know is, can we use the katana to fish, to spear fish with? We're going to have to test that out and see if we can, or if it's only for fighting with. And then I will obviously bring along an archer bow, because what's better to fight fight the Vambies and predators with than to fight them at a distance. If you can, you don't want to fight anything hand to hand. That's always a disaster. and other things we might bring. I'm not going to bring an upgrade tool unless I want to build out my building more. But I definitely should craft a stone hammer in order to be able to repair my constructions when they're done over at the new base. So yeah, those are the things that you're probably going to want to have and bring. And it's your decision. Do you want to deal with... I mean, if you make an axe and a pickaxe out of iron, they're going to last you a long time, but eventually they're going to wear out. And then you're going to have to make another one, and you're going to need an anvil and the advanced workbench in order to do it. So that's it right now. Aside from obviously needing to build fencing around wherever my cave compound is to make sure that my base is safe, and maybe building a fence around my base, I'd be able to include the campfire within there, and that would also prevent raccoons from getting at our food, so we could just leave the food out. I guess I wonder kind of maybe what are you guys thinking? Do you think I left anything out? I'm not sure if we want to build a fence around the entrance to the cave to prevent zombies from getting inside. It's very possible that we should build a fence around the cave entrance so we can stay safe from animals walking inside. I would assume that animals aren't going to spawn inside the caves, but you never know. But it's still very possible that zombies may actually spawn inside the cave, in which case maybe having a fence isn't the safest thing, especially if all of your weapons break and you want to run screaming out of the cave back to your base, back to oh yeah, we gotta make a weapons rack, a tool rack. We definitely gotta make one of those to put all of our tools on and to make extra tools so when something breaks we can just get in there and get it. I've had that happen a couple of times. I've had something break on me, discovered I'm out of arrows, or my bow is broken, my spear is broken, and I have to run in the house away from something attacking me, close the door, get a weapon, get back out, and finish off whatever I was fighting. So yeah, a weapon / tool rack will definitely be something we want to have at our new cave base. So that'll be it for this video. You guys, if you like this video, I would appreciate thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, get alerts when I come out with new videos, and as always, comment, tell me what you think you're bringing, what you might think I have missed, or just items that you want to have over at the cave. Maybe you're going to do a lot of glass around your base at the cave, and maybe it's possible, as I said, that maybe the lead won't respawn and it'll be a one-time deal, which is crazy, but it's not impossible. Maybe everything we discussed in this video, we'll only need a few things to bring over with us to just get the lead and go, and that'll be it for any cave base or any building there at all. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Later, dudes.